there is a real lack of understanding on the business applications. So I really wanted to hammer home in this book the fact that virtual reality and augmented reality have so much potential in businesses of any size across every single industry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another show of the Disruptive Front. Today, I have one amazing guest, Jeremy Dalton, author of Reality Check, which we are going to go over, and head of XR at PwC. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It is an absolute pleasure to be here, Scott. Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, I have bugged you a lot about PwC. I'm a huge fan of PwC, but I'm also a huge fan of yours and the content that you've been putting out there. One of the big things that I focus on a lot is consumerism, trying to get consumers, whether that be the provider or whether that be what we currently call patients, to buy in, because what I see is a lot of, let's put it in perspective. There's a lot of Ferraris without the gas. And, there's these programs that work, these amazing technologies and gadgets, but people don't know about them, or there's just this burden of information. You and I spoke about this, and I keep using this as an example, but the FDA presenting this vaccine and then doing it through a PowerPoint slide. Oh, sorry. I'm awake again. But I wanted to thank you again. So today I want to jump right in. Today we're going to start off with some of the PwC reports because I want people to know about things in PwC. I think the world of education, the world of providers are missing this. And every time I say to somebody, hey, check this out, they're like, whoa, I need to start. And I'm like, why are you not following PwC as a whole? So if you can talk to us a little bit about PwC, what amazing things you guys have done in the, especially in the health markets, financial markets, and how has going virtual changed some things or not?
Yeah, sure. So most people might actually think of or understand PwC to be an accountancy company, but it's actually far wider than that. It really is a professional services firm, and we do all sorts of things for companies of all different sizes. The best way to summarize it is that it doesn't matter how big of a company you are or how small. It doesn't matter whether you're having issues around, needing an audit or needing forensic analysis or business recovery, whatever it is, PwC has got a division that can help solve your business problems. And as such, we also have a dedicated XR team, a virtual reality and augmented reality team, because these technologies can be used to solve business problems. So naturally, it makes sense for us to start having a team that is focused and specializing in that sort of area. So we're really excited to be able to offer all these different valuable propositions to businesses of all sizes. And particularly with XR, to the second point of your question, this is a technology that has actually really helped a lot of our clients and our staff to engage in this current climate, which is vastly represented by remote working and the necessity to try and find better ways to collaborate remotely. So at the moment, here in London, we're under heavy lockdown. There are very few people in any office anywhere here. So we had to adapt. We had to find ways to continue to collaborate and to continue to work together. And virtual reality has been a fantastic technology to allow us to do that. We have brought companies from all over the world together, pharmaceutical companies, banking companies, oil and gas companies, and we're together in this virtual world sharing this experience, and in a way that is much more powerful than you can get on a video conferencing call.
Well, one of the things that stands out for PwC is when I look at some of the reports, and we joked about it earlier, but 72% of people XYZ, 27% of people XYZ, the talking points are not only backed by study after study after study and reference after reference of quality research, but they give people direction. So if you're a business or you're a health profession and all of a sudden, I don't know, let's say, pandemic hits and you need to change your business model, PwC, I believe, will guide you where the trends are, where consumers are, where providers are, where people are giving surveys back about their real lives and how they want to consume the information. And it's funny, we talk about XR, VR, AR, XYZ. A lot of times the consumer doesn't care how it's produced. It's just as long as it's quality, the best, and now, And so we continue to get better. And one thing that I do realize is we talk a lot amongst ourselves about how good we are. You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good type of thing. And so having somebody like yourself really be able to take that amazing content within these little niche circles and go and tell the world about them is something I super, 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 super and happy to see. But I'm also commending you for, because it's something I try to do every day. The next thing I want to jump into real quickly, and it's I feel like a big bread and butter of this conversation, is reality check. So give me a reality check and let's talk about your book. I know one's on the way with your signature in it for me. So please give us a little bit about the book, why you wrote it, and what it's about, so people can, I want them to buy in. So that's my call to action to everybody out there.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, more than happy to. So Reality Check was the result of me talking to business leaders all over the globe and realizing that there is a deep misunderstanding about what virtual reality and augmented reality can do. If you bring those terms up with business leaders, a lot of them in their mind have visions of Pokemon Go, have got visions of Beat Saber, and so on. And so they have this very narrow-minded view that virtual reality and augmented reality is just about gaming, entertainment, and that's it. There is a real lack of understanding on the business applications. So I really wanted to hammer home in this book the fact that virtual reality and augmented reality have so much potential in businesses of any size across every single industry. And I wanted to back that up not only with my own arguments and experience, but with academic studies, corporate case studies, and reports, including some of the PwC ones you mentioned, and bring that all together into this single tome so that anybody who wants an understanding of this technology, what it can do, it doesn't matter whether you are starting from zero knowledge. I've written it assuming you have no knowledge whatsoever of the space, but by the time you finish reading it, you will have more knowledge than a lot of people even in the industry will have.
Well, I actually think that the myths are real. I know they are, and I would like to jump a little bit into that with you. But I do think that when you talk about the enterprise levels and the buy-in, and I think that's what the book is saying, it's it's not just about gaming, but when you look at those industries, when you look at entertainment, you also got to think that's where the consumer is. So if businesses started to utilize these tools to maybe make their business a little bit more entertaining, like what we say in marketing is making healthcare sexy. I don't know if that's should even be talked about in the same conversation, but the idea of making it have sizzle, right? Like the stakes there, the gadgets are there, the amazing technology and the expenses are there. The only way we're going to make it feasible and scalable is if there's more buy-in. And that's the problem with a lot of these technologies is provider buy-in, consumer buy-in, and consumers being providers as well sometimes. And so I would like to talk, what other myths do you see, and what can we do to change that without, or not without, but on top of reading your book?
So there are so many myths around XR, and I use the term XR as an umbrella term for virtual reality and augmented reality. But there is this belief that virtual reality is going to make you sick, makes everyone sick, no matter what you do. And the fact is, there's a far more niche, there needs to be a far more niche understanding of why and when it does cause, illness or discomfort. And there are so many factors involved, but the way I'd summarize it, in addition to the fact that it's a very complicated area, is that this has nothing to do specifically with virtual reality. Humans have been sick since the dawn of time, all the way back to the ancient Greeks. In fact, if you think about it, the word nausea, nause, comes from ancient Greek. It's ship in ancient Greek, and that goes to show you that you can feel seasick when you're on a ship or a boat. You can feel airsick in a plane. You can feel car sick in a car. All of these forms of technology through the ages have made humans feel sick. And even nowadays, even when it's not virtual reality, but digital media presented to you on a flat TV screen like a laptop, that still makes a lot of people feel sick. If you go to, I think it's moviehurl.com, you can see ratings for different movies and films and a rating of how much they're likely to make you feel sick. So this is not an issue that's related to virtual reality particularly, but obviously is has now created this reputation, which I think is a little bit undeserved with regard to the tech. And then there's all sorts of other myths around virtual reality and augmented reality being just entertainment and media type device, or a lot of myths around it not being scalable, being super expensive, all this sort of stuff. And we can dig into any of these areas that you find useful.
Well, I do think that also a lot of companies wanted to get their products out there and cut corners, and which ended up making the consumer have an effect on them physically that may have not been the exact of what should be. So, you know, when you cut corners, when you, I mean, the eyes can play tricks on you, right? So even if your lenses are not cut correctly, you know, you may feel like you're getting some migraines even, and that may lead to you feeling like this is not for me. So it needs to be done the right way, which is even more why volume is important, because volume, demand, we already have the demand. We know it's there, right? We need more of it. We need more people touching it. But it's like the Apple Watch. I mean, to get the real results, it's like $300, $350. Most people that need that don't have that money. And so, you know, I hope that we could get more buy-in. But talking about volume, I would like to go into another subject, which is volumetric. Volumetric and capturing the volumetric capture. So please just explain that to everybody, because it's a newer term, but I've seen some amazing stuff in it. So I just want everybody to understand, what is volumetric capture?
It is a super exciting technology that is not solely related to virtual reality, but has very important ramifications in VR, because it is one way that we can capture human beings, and I don't mean physically, but I mean record them as a type of three-dimensional film. That's kind of a summarized way of describing what the technology results in, a 3D video of you. And the way it does this is, imagine going to a studio where you've got all these hundreds of cameras all around you, and half of those cameras are just normal video cameras taking a video of you from all different angles. And the other half of the cameras are actually taking measurements, very precise measurements of all the points on your body to work out and
minus the wrinkles, right?
Yeah, preferably minus the wrinkles, exactly, yeah. To create this 3D mesh or 3D model of you, on top of which the video texture gets slapped onto. The end result being this really photorealistic 3D video of you that you can import into virtual reality applications, augmented reality applications, and any type of 3D application that even runs on your computer, for example.
Well, I think, you know, even going into the event space, I mean, the virtual event space is only growing, and it's only going to grow. And you look at it from an education standpoint, being able to bring a global audience into your schools per se, or a global partnerships, you know, being able to come to your events and be part of a VIP event. Hopefully, though, for my sake, I can stand on a stool while they do this cameraing, so I get a couple inches. So, you know, just to, at least in some alter world, I'm a little taller. But I do want to talk to you actually about the education side of things, because I've been trying to push VR, AR into education for a long time. I believe, even from a healthcare perspective, just looking at it like this, you can't go into these very high risk rooms because you need to be background checked. You need to get all these things first, license, XYZ. But imagine being able to walk through these spaces prior to even going in them. I know sounds odd in your world, right? And then touching, quizzing, understanding, because you've used more than just your black and white senses from a piece of paper, basically, of how to test. Do you feel that is the future of education? Do you feel we're going in that direction, so we can actually look and touch and feel and spin a molecular, you know, atom or whatever, molecule or atom? Do you think that's the future?
I'd say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that virtual reality and augmented reality afford us these absolutely incredible experiences and these ways of engaging with educational material and content that we've never been able to do in such a powerful way before. So you think about, when you think about school, you know, you think about textbooks, you think about, you know, maybe slightly rich media like videos and pictures and things like that. And those are fine, but they really don't tell a rich picture. Our world is three-dimensional, and it would be best if we can engage with it in a three-dimensional way. And that's what virtual reality and augmented reality allows us to do, bring to life these concepts and really articulate them, communicate them to us in a super impactful and powerful way that hopefully we'll remember. At the same time, though, I don't think that it will be the replacement for all of these different forms of media that we've been used to, like the textbooks. There will always be a place for the textbooks, for the videos, and so on, because it doesn't make sense to use virtual reality for absolutely everything. And in a lot of ways, you as different types of learners may want to engage with material in different types of ways. Some people might enjoy and really take in the information by reading it in textual form. Some may really grasp it when they can physically, hold it and move things around and manipulate materials. And for them, maybe virtual reality would be a fantastic way of learning. But all of these different types of media allow us to remember and educate ourselves in different ways. So they should all work together for the future of education.
So to all the educators out there, I just want to clear something up. Are you saying that people learn differently than the next? All right. So I just want to make sure that just shake your head yes or blink twice. So I want to know something that really is near and dear to me. So where are we missing the link? Because when we look at some things in AR, VR, look at companies like Matterport. Shout out to Matterport for doing amazing things in the development space and real estate space. But what I think is missing, and I've told this the company themselves, is the scalability for headsets. If I'm a realtor or a broker and I have a property, I'm going to go film this amazing thing that has so much potential and touch points. And I'm going to send you a video that you can watch on your laptop, basically a 3D walkthrough, like a 360 video. Where do we get to the point where they can, or a company, and I'm using this as an example, but take the broker can say, hey, I'm going to send you some white labeled or, my logoed glasses, $15 glasses, $20. When do we get to a world where that's something? Because right now it's not.
So this question's been asked quite a lot, and it's basically, it's similar to people who are questioning why it's taking so long for virtual reality and augmented reality to become mainstream. But usually it's VR in this conversation. I did some research on this topic to try and help answer that question, or at least answer, is this technology dead because it's taken so long? Is it actually going to take off? And I looked back in the past. I looked at the last 100 years of technology that's being adopted in our history. So things like the telephone, the microwave, the computer, the internet, and so on, in an effort to try and see how long did those technologies take? How long has VR taken so far? And therefore, what stage are we at? Is VR late? Has it taken longer than other technologies? And what I found is, there are some technologies like the landline that took 29 years to become mainstream in society. And virtual reality has been going for about 27 now. So it still has a few more years to go before it's outside of that normal range of how long it's taken us to adopt previous technologies. So I think we will definitely get there. The technology has proven value, and it has proven value for businesses all over the world through academic studies and through the experiences of many of us. So give it a few more years. I know we've been saying that for a while, but we're still within that range, and we are almost at that inflection point where we could consider it as mainstream technology, particularly with the advent of these new headsets that are simpler, that are cheaper, and that are easier to use.
Well, I'm going to send everybody to bug you so we could exponentially move this forward. And we talked about this earlier, but you and I both probably can agree that we feel like we born too early, because there's so many amazing things to come. And I say this all the time. I do see a lot of areas like pharmaceutical companies, R&D, being disrupted by the way that they're using virtual reality and augmented reality, being able to look at molecules from a different perspective and see their trials in ways they could never years back. I do also see this virtual reality and XR becoming a fashion statement. And I actually saw you post something about Apple and what they were doing with all these cameras that were going on, but it looked pretty movie type glasses, if I could say. So I do see a lot going on in these spaces. So I want to ask you, from your perspective and kind of finalizing this, where are we going? How far and how quick? Where's the next 2 years? I'm not going to ask you the next 10, because you would be you would be Back to the Future, and I would have to call you more often. But where are we at in 2 years? Like, how far is the phone going to be able to adapt to the virtual reality? Like, where do you see us in the next 2 years? And what's the next big boom?
So you mentioned Apple and the headset that I was talking about. The post that I put online was actually a piece of concept art that was designed by an artist to try and envisage what this headset that Apple hopefully eventually brings out might look like. And the interesting thing is it garnered quite a lot of controversy in terms of people who really loved it, people who really hated it, and everything in between. But I think the underlying idea behind that is one of collaboration with the fashion industry. So over the next few years, there's definitely going to have to be a greater tie-in and a greater connection between large technology companies and fashion houses and design houses to ensure that future tech products, including XR products, are presented to consumers in a way that they don't appear as really geeky gadgets. So they shouldn't
like
be
a Band-Aid or
exactly. They shouldn't be development tools. They should be things that people want to wear, that they're proud to wear, that they're not embarrassed to wear in public. And when that happens, that's when we'll start to see a real increase or a shoot up in terms of people out there using the technology.
I love it. And I do want to ask before we get off, where can people find you first? And then secondly, do you have any words for the consumers out there? Because I know you're doing an amazing job of trying to get this information out there. So first, where can people find you? And then final words.
Sure. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Jeremy Dalton. You can find me on Twitter, Jeremy Dalton XR. And if you want to check out the book, all the details on that are at realitycheckxr.com. Final words I will leave you with is that this technology is super exciting. The reason I got into it in the first place is because I looked at all the other emerging tech out there, artificial intelligence, blockchain, the Internet of Things, and so on. And this was the technology that really felt to me like it was so unique. Unlike anything else, it's experiential, it's visceral. You are living it and it's in your world, or it's giving you an outlook into different worlds. I would say just you have to try it for yourself to really understand the full potential of it. So although my book may help to get you 50% of the way, the next 50% will need to come from your own firsthand experience.
So your book will get them to the treadmill, but they have to actually push the button and walk. I appreciate everything you're doing. I look forward to building a greater relationship with you, helping you in any way. Please, everybody, go follow Jeremy. LinkedIn, I know you're on there, like you said, a lot, some of the most amazing posts and content that you put out, and engagement. We can add hopefully to the 30,000 contacts you already have. But again, thank you so much for coming on today. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of The Disruptive Front. I hope you have a great day.